You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
And as you know, I worked in entertainment generally for quite some time, as did producer Tuwala Sharp. We kind of know what happens behind the scenes in a general sense when stories come out about very prominent people within entertainment, especially urban entertainment, be it hip-hop music, R&B music, comedy. And you'd have someone like Jamie Foxx movies who kind of traverses all those worlds. And he moves in and out of those worlds. And we kind of know what is being said behind the scenes. When you have like a news story like Diddy or something, there are people that we can call directly I would say most people are 1 degree of separation from us. There's someone we can call for just about any celebrity who can get in touch with that person. Doesn't mean they're willing to come on the show, but we can get some very, very good information. And when Jamie Foxx, Academy Award winner, had his health scare back in April, I almost immediately knew this seems just like a stroke. From what was described about him having a headache, I'm talking about publicly available information, not including me calling people information. He said that it was said that he had a headache. There was an issue on set, and then you heard nothing after that. He just completely disappeared from public view. The family wasn't saying anything. Yes, there were rumors of everything from benign to grave, and it seemed touch and go from the people that I talked to. And I said, why, paraphrasing, why are they lying to us? Because he had his daughter out front saying that, oh, no, he's fine. He just came from the hospital. The media got it wrong. They're trying to sensationalize it, all the things. You know, the media, we were the bad ones. Like, no, we know that it was a serious, major health episode. And he was on the precipice of dying. I knew that. Couldn't prove it, but I knew that. What I didn't like was while he was incognito, obviously recuperating, maybe in the hospital or not, his daughter, Corinne Foxx, released a press release in May, about 30 days later, saying that she and him were going to have a game show in 2024. And that's what she was almost monetizing the medical scare. All this focus on Jamie Foxx, and Corinne Foxx was like a spokesperson for the family. So she talked about the game show. That left a bad taste in my mouth. No, you don't need to tell us what's going on with your family. You don't need to. But you don't have to use the increased media scrutiny to publicize and promote your game show.
I think the thing that really got my dander up beyond that was the fact that she chose to admonish the press for maligning the truth, not getting it right, not knowing what's going on. And this show and every single show out there was only able to report what little information that we were receiving, which may have led to educated guesses, speculation, rumor, and all of that. But if the overall idea that was being floated by the press was that the situation was much worse than it seemed, it was much more complicated than was being reported. And if you're in the public eye, if you're Jamie Foxx, guess what? Every single thing you do is going to get reported on. This is no different. We understand the privacy and respecting the family, blah, 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 blah. Get all that. But this is a major story. Jamie Foxx was coming back with Cameron Diaz. They were doing an action thriller and everyone was looking for it. And all of a sudden, boom, medical crisis. He disappears. If we're reporting on what information we get, then either clear that information up or just let it go. But when you come out and say, press, once again, you're wrong, and this is why people don't trust the press. She was going in on media, and I'm like, this is a bad way to go.
And today, the Jamie Foxx special on Netflix dropped, titled What Had Happened Was. And after all that, we were 100% right. It was a stroke. Here is Jamie Foxx, condensed version in his own words.
April 11th, I was having a bad headache. And I asked my boy for an aspirin. And I realized quickly that when you're in a medical emergency, your boys don't know what the to do. And I was like, damn. But I was having such a bad headache. So I asked my boy, I said, listen, I need a aspirin. Before I could get the aspirin, I went out. I don't remember 20 days. So they tell me my sister took me into the hospital, and this cool white boy, Dr. Schutte, cool white boy, they say he had on a Laker jersey, just cool as shit, you know. But he told my sister some horrible news about her big brother. He said he's having a brain bleed that's led to a stroke. Damn, me. Here's the thing. When you dream about what you want to be in life, you don't dream tragedy. You dream everything is good. I got the life. I got the cars. I got all of that. You don't dream that something was going wrong. The doctor said, if I don't go in his head, we're going to lose him. And she fired back and said, you can go in his head, but you're not going to find anything because I already talked to God. The cool white doctor named Dr. Schutte shot right back and said, I'm a religious man too. But I got to do my job. Your life doesn't flash before your face. It was kind of oddly peaceful. I say this all the time. I saw the tunnel. I didn't see the light. I didn't see the light. I was in that tunnel though. It was hot in that tunnel. Am I going to the wrong place in this one? Because I looked at the end of the tunnel and I thought I saw the devil like, come on. Was that Puffy?
So after all that, all the admonitions that you talked about, Tuwala, it was what we thought it was. I am not here to tell Jamie Foxx what to do with his career, but I will say this, that it leaves a bit of a bad taste in my mouth where you don't tell the media anything. And when you do speak to the media through your daughter, it's an admonition about you should have done this. You should have gotten the story right when we had the story right all along. And instead of telling us and getting the story right and allaying anyone's fears and clearing it up, you save it for a good, 7 months so you can monetize it in the form of a Netflix special. That's your prerogative. Congratulations. I hope you have a great second chance at life. I don't disbelieve that he's very sincere about being very grateful for that second chance, but let's keep it in context. I remember exactly how we got here, and it has been used as a marketing campaign every step of the way. I'm glad that he's in a better place in a health sense, but I do remember that this has always been about marketing and promotion. It's Later with Mo Kelly, KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. And speaking of marketing and promotion, have you seen these fans who are trying to camp out in Inglewood outside the Kia Forum for the Billie Eilish concert? Have they lost their mind? They're camping out a week in advance. We'll tell you about that when we come back.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
And Billie Eilish is not my cup of tea. I think she's talented. But I was talking with the guys in the studio, and I was just saying, like, she may be talented, but every damn song she sings is sad. Even if the song has happy in the title, it's just sad. She's upset about everything. I can't listen to that. But, not for me. I'm not her intended audience. But she has a boatload of fans all around the world, especially here in Los Angeles. And she's coming to the Kia Forum. And I did not know that people were actually trying to camp out full-blown tents. I'm not talking about lawn chairs and they're holding the spot. No, full-blown tents on the sidewalk. And let me say, since I live in that area, if you're going to put a tent on Prairie or Manchester, you are taking chances with your life, okay? Homeless people, and I'm not being funny, homeless people have been killed for less. And you're going to put yourself out there on Manchester and Prairie. Listen to this.
Disappointed fans. Mac, what are they going to do now? DC4's McCullough Medina is live there now. He talked with disappointed fans. Mac, what are they going to do now?
Well, this is not what fans were expecting. Take a look at this. This was filled with tents, about a dozen deep here earlier today, just a few hours ago, with eager fans hoping to be the first in line for the concert on Thursday. Well, the police here in Inglewood says those tents had to go, and so most of these people are now just waiting here without those tents, but it's not dampening their spirits.
I love Billie so much.
Ariana Jackson was the first person to pitch a tent and wait for the December 15th show at the Forum.
I'm a diehard.
She got here on December 5th.
What? Last year they started 2 weeks early, so this time we wanted to be first in line.
Wait. She started camping out on the 5th for a concert on the 15th?
Ariana Jackson was the first person to pitch a tent and wait for the December 15th show at the Forum.
Right, December 15th.
She got here on December 5th.
Last year they started 2 weeks early, so this time we wanted to be first in line.
She wasn't alone. Tent after tent popped up behind hers, but unlike her tent, anyone home? Most were unoccupied when we were there.
Because they killed everybody. That's why. You don't pitch a tent on Prairie, on Manchester. If I tell you not to go to a gas station at night, that also includes not pitching a tent on Prairie at night by the Kia Forum.
A lot of these tents are empty.
I think so right now. I'm just watching the tents.
Jackson says fellow fans keep an eye on each other's tents as some go to work or school during the day.
Wait a minute. You pitched the tent and you're going to work. You have school you got to go to. You have a job you got to go to. And you're living in a tent on a sidewalk for the opportunity to purchase some Billie Eilish tickets to be first or second in line. And you're asking Miss Jackson, to watch your tent while you're gone to work or to school. Y'all some crazy fools.
Fellow fans keep an eye on each other's tents as some go to work or school during the day.
I work at a clothing store.
So you go in, you put in your 8 hours,
yeah,
you come back to your tent.
And I come back.
And while we were there, parking enforcement warned that vacant tents that blew onto the street because of the winds could cause a driving hazard and would be removed. Then police told fans the tents all had to go because they were obstructing the sidewalk as well.
They came up to my tent and they were like, hey, you guys have to leave. You're blocking the sidewalk. And I was like, why? We've been here for like 3 days.
Some fans who drove all the way from Pomona tried to save what they had inside those tents.
Okay, wait. You drove from Pomona. You pitched a tent on Prairie to purchase some tickets for a concert 10 days out. There's something wrong with you.
In addition to all that alliteration. Pomona,
Wasn't that
pitched
cool?
a tent,
On
Prairie.
That was on the fly.
Yeah, and just write a sad song about it. Be done with it.
Well, that's what Billie Eilish does. So I guess she fills that need. Billie Eilish is nothing but sad songs.
Yeah, everybody wins, kind of.
I thought the Comic-Con people were bad with that Hall H Campout for like a day. I thought that was ridiculous. The Rose Parade people, I'm like, yeah, it's a tradition, but I'm not really down with that.
Is it really camping out, though, if you go to school, you go to work, and you come back just to lay your head on Prairie?
Is that moving to the street? I mean, you're kind of relocating to the street.
I guess you are. I mean, they got hotels in the area if you're really committed.
Nah, they would need to be in line, though. That's the issue.
Is there anything you guys would camp out overnight for apart from, say, a new liver?
Nothing I can say on the radio. I'll just have to leave that to your imagination.
And it's almost like counterfeit, too, because it's not someone holding your place. It's an inanimate object sitting there.
Cheating.
Yeah.
It's almost like, if you leave the line to go to the bathroom, you've lost your place.
Exactly.
The same is true if you leave the line to go to work for 8 hours. You've lost your place.
In Pomona.
I would have walked up there and kicked their tent into the street. They're not here. They lose their place.
No, that's a line violation. Rose Parade, Comic-Con, those people, they're out there in their lawn chairs, in their funky pits, smelling like sugar honey iced tea, and it is just
they smell horrible. But they put in the time. They stayed. They didn't leave. And you know that because they smell horrible.
That's true. They do stay.
But if you're leaving to go home or go to work and take a shower and everything, is it really camping out? It seems like that's dishonest.
That's
cheating.
straight cheating.
Why? We've been here for like 3 days.
Some fans who drove all the way.
This isn't eminent domain. This is like because you camped out for 3 days, you get to keep it. Why? We've been here for 3 days. What do you mean we have to move? Why? It's not fair.
Why? We've been here.
Why?
Why? We've been here for like 3 days.
Come on.
Doesn't she sound very immature? Like, why?
I can't believe this.
Por qué?
Why? We've been here for like 3 days.
That's called trespassing. It's almost like we've been squatting here for 2 weeks. What do you mean we have to leave? We've been here 2 weeks. Is it like possession 9/10 of the law? Why?
We've been here for like 3 days.
Some fans who drove all the way from Pomona tried to save what they had inside those tents.
I just got here, and thank God that they took my stuff out because it would have been trashed with our tents.
Hey, don't bring God into this. Don't bring God into this, okay? You chose to camp out and leave your tent to go to work. God had nothing to do with that. Because if it had to do with God, you wouldn't have been there in the first place. God would have given you some damn sense and told you not to camp out on the street when you got to go to work.
Why? We've been here for like 3 days.
Why?
Some fans who drove all the way from Pomona tried to save what they had inside those tents.
I just got here, and thank God that they took my stuff out because it would have been trashed with our tents.
Now, the city says they can still stay here, just no more tents, and a lot of fans say they'll be out here in their lawn chairs waiting for that concert on Thursday.
Y'all are some dumb motherfuckers. Let me tell you, you are dumb. And you know what? I hope you don't get to see the concert. I don't think we should reward stupidity.
Why?
If you're gonna drive from Pomona to pitch a tent on Prairie for the promise of buying some tickets to potentially see the concert,
You better stay there the whole damn time.
the whole time.
The whole time?
The whole time. KFI AM 640. Wait, you need another plosive?
Yeah, I was just adding another P word. Permanently. With your pledge pin.
Perfect. Please?
Proceed.
KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Later with Mo Kelly on KFI AM 640.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. And I would never say that I was a big consumer of poetry. And I'm not someone who went to a lot of poetry slams. But you couldn't talk about either and not talk about the contributions and impact of the now late Nikki Giovanni, who was a poet and literary celebrity who passed away yesterday at the age of 81. And this was before they had literary real celebrities, especially coming out of the field of poetry. She would sell out venues of more than 4,000 and 5,000 people. She was a subject of the prize-winning 2023 documentary Going to Mars. She was an author of more than 25 books. She was oftentimes controversial. She was praised. She was criticized. She was sometimes reviled. You would see her on The Tonight Show. You would see her at the Lincoln Center. You would see her at poetry slams. You would see her at small gatherings and large, but she was beloved for the most part. And if you've never heard her work, it was something beautiful. It was an experience. Oftentimes it was put to music. Oftentimes it was a performance. It was something that you had to experience. I did have the opportunity to meet and dialogue with her a few times over the years in the various jobs that I had. And even though she was a tiny woman as far as her physical stature, her presence was enormous. She was very much connected to the civil rights movement and adding her voice as a member of the movement. If you don't know the civil rights movement, women were not allowed to have any significant role out front. So oftentimes women were working behind the scenes. They were lending their time and talents in ways which were not necessarily accepted by the men of the time, but it had an immeasurable impact when you look in the long view of history with names like Angela Davis and a Nikki Giovanni or a Ruby Dee and so forth. But the best way to remember and understand Nikki Giovanni is to hear some of her work. If there's any singular piece that you should know, hear, or learn connected to Nikki Giovanni, there's one piece which is called ego tripping. Sometimes it's been performed in music. I prefer it more like an a cappella piece and just in its original presentation with no music. Nikki Giovanni gone at the age of 81, but her poetry will live on forever.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
I could not be the only one. I couldn't be the only one. Was anyone like me? I would go to IKEA just to walk through the whole damn store. I would start at the top or wherever it was, and they make you walk through the whole store before you get to the cashier and checkout. They want you to pass everything. They want you to think about buying everything along the way. I actually kind of like that, and I never had a lot of money, so I'd walk through. Because when I was buying stuff at IKEA, it was usually for my early apartments when I was in my 20s. That's all I could afford. And I would spend all night trying to put that stuff together. And I always have like 7 pieces left over. And I was praying that none of my stuff would fall apart. I had like 2 different beds, a futon, 2 different dressers that would just lean into the side. It's like I didn't do something right. But IKEA was one of those experiences I enjoyed being in the store. But part of the enjoyment was how large it was. And then I get my Swedish meatballs at the end. Come to find out, IKEA is going to open its first small format store in LA County this month. Small format. Yeah. IKEA Arcadia small format store will feature over 1,000 products that will be refreshed each season, allowing guests to shop for the most popular items without navigating a giant warehouse. See, they're taking all the fun out of it. I liked navigating that big warehouse. The smaller store is part of what is an expansion of IKEA Arcadia Planning Studio, where customers can get support for more complex purchases. Quote, our expansion goal is simple, to be where people are, whenever and however they want to experience IKEA. The store located in the Santa Anita Center in Arcadia is now open. Open on December 9th as of yesterday. And I have absolutely no reason to go, but I have every reason that I want to go just to look at it, just to for the whole nostalgia portion of it. Think of old apartments I used to have. Think of all the women I used to date back then. I can't say that.
Date's an okay verb for radio.
Yeah, date. Yeah. It's a euphemism.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Stefan, did you ever go to IKEA? I should say, did you ever furnish your apartments with IKEA?
My parents tried to make a desk or not make it, but put a desk together for me, and they got about halfway through, and my dad's like, after this, I'm gonna just go buy a regular one.
Yeah, and I guess you're supposed to save by putting it together yourself. But they couldn't even put directions in that you could actually read. They just gave pictures. I know it's like a Swedish company or something. I don't need you to put it in English, but at least make the 2-dimensional diagrams make sense.
Because, are they that bad? Are they really?
No, they are that bad.
Because like what you were saying is, okay, let's just say it's like a corner of the desk. You can only see it from one angle. So it could be like 3 different parts. And you're just going to mess it up at the end if you don't get it just right.
It's like a brain teaser where you look at something and it's either a horse or a lamp. Because it's 2-dimensional, it could look like anything. It's like, are these the legs going up or are the legs going down of the table? You just don't know. And you would spend all night trying to put it together because you wanted to save $50. So they handed it to you in this flattened box with all the plywood and everything and 55 dozen screws and 1 Allen wrench. And you're supposed to put it all together. Rarely did it come out the way that it was supposed to. If you looked at it wrong or blew on it, it'd probably fall over, but you're trying to save money. I don't know of anyone who actually had money or was at a point in their life where they didn't have to scrape by where they bought their for real furniture from IKEA.
You're exactly right about that. The way you know you've become successful is you don't have to assemble your own furniture.
Isn't there something intuitively wrong about putting your own furniture together? I bought it from you. I drove to you. I gave my money to you, and you handed me an unbuilt bed.
Also, curse them, damn them for making an Allen wrench a part of my life. I didn't need that.
I never saw an Allen wrench in my life until I went to IKEA.
Yeah, the hell with them for that.
And they were always tiny. They were always impossible to use. They've never upgraded them as far as I know. They're the same Allen wrenches as 1992.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure, because a couple of my friends growing up years later, it looked exactly the same as the one that I had when I was a kid in the box.
Now, don't get me wrong. I love walking through the IKEA. I love the beautiful furniture. When it was done, obviously by professionals, it looked great. I don't know how sturdy it was because everything I got with IKEA, it was basically plywood drawers that would droop and fall apart after a amount of time.
Not built to last.
No, not at all. But if you were 20-something back in the day, it was adequate if you're trying to get a bed, maybe some drawers, and I don't know, maybe a nightstand. They had the complete set you could get at a reasonable price. And if you're moving in a place, it was perfect for that because you couldn't buy furniture from like Macy's or some legitimate furniture store. Your only real option for furnishing an apartment back then, if you're working for like an hourly wage, was IKEA.
Yeah, are there people alive right now who don't remember how hellish it was to furnish your own place before IKEA? You had to really scrounge for stuff, look around at secondhand stuff. A normal person or, just somebody on the low end of the income spectrum, that was a challenge.
It was a challenge. I was going to garage sales, people who are unloading furniture. You might find the decent, I'll say, sofa or Barca lounger on the corner. Hopefully it didn't have like excrement in it or something.
That's a bonus.
I'm just saying. I said hopefully. You just never know. Hopefully it was just old and just put out there. But yeah, there weren't places that you actually shop for furniture which were affordable, and IKEA owned that market.
And my favorite is, like you said, you always have at least, 8 or 9 pieces left over, but it looked correct. So you're like, okay, and then I just didn't need them. And then you open one part of the drawer and it falls, and you're like, that's what they were for.
I never minded putting the furniture together, but I have had to backtrack a couple times while swearing like a longshoreman because you missed something and that ruins everything down the line.
I always struggle with drawers because they had the wheels and you had to put on the tracks. It was always where I stumbled. The beds for some reason were easy. They were easy as far as looking at the design. Oh, obviously this is this piece or this is that piece. That wasn't difficult. But the drawers, they always messed me up. And they were always unstable and leaning. They were very suspect.
But didn't you get an enormous amount of pleasure when you finally decided that the thing's lifespan was up, just destroying it in a fit of violent rage?
Here was my metric. I'm glad you said that. I moved a lot in my 20s, and it was kind of understood. If I was moving, the IKEA furniture was not.
It's a ritual, yeah.
It was not going to be able to stand the move. Once I put it together, it was not supposed to be moved around that bedroom or around the room, and it definitely wasn't going to make it on a truck, on and off a truck, up some stairs, and into the next apartment. It never happened.
Oh, no, you got to do like the Office Space guys and just stomp on it.
Oh, we did, some of them. And some of them I kind of like put out on the curb for someone else, knowing good and well that it wasn't going to last for anyone else. But, I have fond memories. IKEA served its purpose. And yes, the nostalgia of being able to walk through the big stores, maybe no more, if only because those big warehouses are far more expensive and far less necessary in this online world. I mean, I've gone to IKEA online and I said, well, why is anyone going back to the warehouse when you can just kind of go click, 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 click?
It's not as fun.
It isn't as fun. But if I can save the time, it's nice to walk through the store, but I'm not going to drive to, like, say, Carson or the one here in Burbank just to walk through the store. If I'm trying to get an item, I'm just going to get online and click, 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 and be done with it.
I like it. You get to see young couples in the bloom of first love walking around arguing about what to get. It's great.
The young married couples, you can always tell. It's like, oh, that's so cute. They get in their first place together. Their first, yeah.
Just wait. Do you want me to expose you to the darkness now, or do you want to discover it on your own?
And I look at that young husband. It's like, oh, you're the one that's going to have to put it together. So,
poor bastard.
You'll be divorced by next week. It's Later with Mo Kelly, KFI AM 640 live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app.
Stimulating talk for independent thought.
KFI
And KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.